What's up YouTube, it's Ryan from AnnihilatorMTG here, and we're back with some more Modern. The list that I'm going to be running with today is The Rock. Now, if you haven't seen last week's video, I would greatly appreciate if you do so, by the way. Anyways, we are playing Abzan midrange, and the main focus of that video is to really test the validity of the White Splash, particularly in regards to the Stoneforge Mystic. Now, to be honest with you, I'm a bit biased towards that card since it's a lot of fun to play with, so I figured the best thing that I could do this week is run straight green-black and really test the merits of a more pure version of the archetype. Now, as far as the lists go, I've made some small adjustments to the mana base, prioritizing a little bit of an aggressive stance towards the land hate in the Ghost Quarters. This could be wrong, and you could definitely run Field of Ruins in their place, but I just kind of decided to experiment with this. As for the rest of the list itself, it's pretty standard. I love the Hex Drinkers, those are phenomenal. The Bobs are great, the Abrupt Decays are phenomenal at dealing with turn 3 Teferis, and Vraska is a bit of a fun of, which quite frankly, maybe shouldn't be here, but I really like playing with it. So as far as sideboards go, our focus is mainly on anti-aggro, zoo decks, control, search effects, and graveyard, and big mana. In my opinion, this is pretty well rounded. It is a little bit heavily tailored towards big mana and dealing with search effects, so you could definitely trim a Damping Sphere and an Ashiok if you'd like, but that's completely up to you. So let's hop into the queue and see if we can win our matches. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent here, and this hand is decent. We've got a threat in the Hex Drinker, we've got some interaction, and we have a Liliana payoff. Might be a little bit land heavy, but I think this is worth keeping. Let's see what our opponent has. Bloodstained Mire, okay. They crack it for a basic swamp. And the Thoughtseize, okay. Well, that's fine. I wonder if this is Jund or maybe just straight black-red. Basic land makes me a little bit cautious. I think I'll just play the fetch here and pass. I like this Abrupt Decay. We definitely have a lot of options here. Let's see if our opponent has a second piece of hand attack. That would be very bad, for sure. All right, another Bloodstained Mire from our opponent. They crack it immediately. Let's see what they get. All right. So it's only a matter of time before we see a Blood Moon here. Oh, Thrill of Possibility. Are they playing like Grizzlebrand variants? That would be not good. Simian Spirit Guide. Okay. All right, let's just crack this and get a basic swamp while we can here. All right, let's see. Let's play the basic forest, and I guess we'll just pass. Would really like a Spell Bomb here. That way we can just deal with our opponent's graveyard, because it's only a matter of time before they dump a Grizzlebrand and just go from there. Definitely a little heavy on cheap removal for low CMC cards. That's not great. And they're passing. This must be like a K command during the draw or upkeep? No, that's weird. I wonder why they shock. That's very strange. All right, well, let's crack this. Let's get that third overall swamp, but second swamp on the board and play Lily. Now, this is tough. On one hand, if I uptick, I'm just leading them to the card, basically. But I guess you have to give it a shot, right? If they have a Grizzlebrand in hand, this is just going to feel awful. They bolt the Lily. Interesting. What's odd to me is I'm not used to seeing stuff like Lightning Bolts main board in what I can only assume is a combo deck. So this is very odd. And not just like one or two. Them having two in hand leads me to believe that they likely have playset and an Emrakul. So is this, this is interesting. What this could be, and I don't want to like look too far into it, but back in the day I played a black-red Blood Moon style deck that was mostly just mid-rangey and control, well, mid-rangey, with tons of removal, interaction, hand attack, you name it, but it also had like top end through the breach for Emrakul, for instance. But the thrill leads me to believe that they're also playing Goryo's Vengeance, and a Merchant, too. So, okay, they're definitely playing Goryo's, for sure. All right, Thoughtseize here. This Thoughtseize might basically be a blank card, but we'll have to see. All right, we'll just take the Emrakul. We'll yield to that. At least they can't breach it now, so that's kind of good. And then I guess we'll just decay the Merchant. Well, if we can get a threat, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot here because they're basically running on empty. And since their hand is, well, empty in itself, they can't just like top deck a breach now that they have the 5 lands to cast it. If they top deck a breach, it does nothing since they don't actually have a creature to shoot out at us. Lurrus, that's pretty good. Let's jam the Lurrus and let's play the Hex Drinker. And we'll level it up. That's not going to do anything right now, but in the future, that could be very strong. Okay, so we have a clock, and our opponent seems to be prioritizing very powerful but frail combo pieces and a Thoughtseize. I'm actually happy about that. Yep, and they concede. All right, so I guess Ashioks are pretty good, right? Like, that has to be the case. Brutalities are probably in. These pushes are not great, frankly. So what else? I think we can cut the Vraska. That's not really going to do much in this matchup. All right, so let's run this. And I guess we can see if we can maybe mulligan to 6 if we feel like we need to get a Nihil Spellbomb or something like that. Thoughtseize is pretty good, though. Thoughtseize, Bauble, Luris. This is all very strong. Thing is, though, is it's a little bit... If they have hand attack, this sucks. But if they have hand attack, I don't want to mulligan regardless. But I do want lands. So I actually think I'm going to try mulliganing once. Oh, boy. All right. Well, this is better, but it's not really what you want. Okay, so let's ship a Goyf and a Quagmire, and we'll just go with this. All right, so we have plenty of hand attack to hit a Goryo's or maybe an Enabler, and then from there we can just try to resolve an Ashiok, and hopefully that's enough. They do have Lightning Bolts, though, so whether or not it lasts forever or if it just gets Thoughtseize, that's to be seen. I'm inclined to think they'll just take the Ashiok, since this is very redundant. You know, you take the Thoughtseize, I play the Inquisition, and vice versa. But they do take the Thoughtseize. Interesting. All right, so we'll play the Swamp here, Drew Luris, but that's all right. And we'll Inquisition, see what they have. Goryo's Vengeance, Merchant, Thrill, and Veil. And a Platinum Empyrean. That's fun. Well, I guess we just take the Vengeance, right? Okay, that Platinum Empyrean is going to be troublesome. I assume they're playing the 2. I think last I checked, whenever you do the Madcap Experiment sideboard package, it's 4 Madcap Experiment, 2 Platinum Empyrean. Although I could be mistaken. So they dump the Empyrean. Liliana. All right. So we're overloaded on really solid 3-drops. So now we just got to draw land, and hopefully we'll be okay. Simple as that. Our opponent, they have a lot of outs, to be honest. They're playing a very strong deck. Knight's Whisper, okay. Do we see another land? We see a Simian Spirit Guide and a Haggle. That's strange. Might be a little too late, but we got the Scavenging Ooze. If we can untap with this, not that I expect that to ever really happen here, then we can deal with their Griselbrand. All right, let's see if we can survive. I doubt it, but, you know, give it our best shot. They fetch. It comes in tapped. Okay. Mountain. Brutality. That fits, I suppose. Hopefully we can just top deck a land and use this Ashiok and exile their graveyard. All right, I think I'm just going to get a basic here again because I'm still a little bit afraid of like Blood Moon. Well, not necessarily afraid, but I feel like the opportunity cost is very low for planning. All right, so let's jam this Ashiok. We'll be able to get at least 1 activation here. Well, we'll be able to get 1 activation here. Veil, okay, that's funny. So we'll mill ourselves and then they still exile. Good stuff. They did get to cycle the Veil, though. Maybe that was enough. I doubt it, but, you know, is what it is. Okay, let's just get it going with the Luris, just so we can kind of get the show on the road here. Get some card advantage, get just a threat on the board. We'll cast the Bauble here. I guess I'll just hit them with it. Spirit Guide, mill them again. I guess it really doesn't matter one way or another. Pretty good. So now we just continue on, and hopefully our opponent doesn't have some way to claw their way back. If they don't, at least not immediately, then I think we have this on lockdown, I would assume, at the very least. All right, we have another land that's moderately okay. We don't really need more than 3, but 4 is all right. Okay, they play their dude. Let's see what else. They crack, and did they get nothing? And they concede. Okay, looks like our opponent tilted out there, but that's okay. Happens to the best of us. Good games, my friend. Alrighty, we found our opponent. Best of luck to you. Let's see. Yeah, we can keep this, for sure. We've got some interaction. We've got our Bob for excellent card advantage, our Lily, Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, this is pretty good. Alright, so let's play the Catacombs and just pass. Do wonder what our opponent's playing. Alright, Basic Islands. And I love that art. Used to play with these. Okay. All right, so I guess what we can do here is just get a basic and push that. All right, so they get to scry 2, but that's not really that big of a deal. Yeah, we'll be able to play the Bob without worry, which is excellent. They can't counter it. Even if they have a force, it can't target creature spells. So we play the Bob and pass. The redundant Liliana is okay. It might be useful, or we'll just pitch it to the first one. It really depends. All right, so we'll pass here. Pretty confident. See what our opponent plays. Hopefully they don't kill the Bob, at least not right away. I don't mind if they kill it after like 2 or 3 triggers. Second island. All right, they play a Mausoleum Wanderer and a Judge's Familiar. Interesting. No problem there. Not too afraid of either of those. All right, first Bob trigger. Push. Okay, we can roll with that. Let's hit the Wanderer. All right, play the Hex Drinker. Then we'll immediately level it up. Then we'll just pass because we don't want the Bob to die just yet. Okay. Opponent doesn't seem to be playing a land just yet. Could just be a sequencing thing, or maybe they are getting a little unlucky here. Paying costs. Interesting. Ninjutsu. Ninja of the Deep Hours. All right. I don't hate it. They can then play a land and then just replay the Judge's Familiar. Hopefully they don't have one, though. And they do. Okay. Ooh, interesting. Well, we got a couple of options here. First, we'll do the Bob trigger. I wouldn't mind Black Source Fatal Push. That would be phenomenal. All right, got a Goyf. Another Hex Drinker. It's not the best. It's not the worst, though. Let's go with the Liliana. All right, so we'll Edict them. They will likely sacrifice the 1-drop for obvious reasons. Wow, they sacrificed the Ninja. Okay, I'll bite. I'll swing with a Hex Drinker. Try to bait them in. I don't actually care about the Liliana living or dying. So if they have some other way to get through, that's irrelevant because then we can just recast the other one in our hand. Well, all right, let's see what our opponent's playing. Might be another Ninja, although I'm unsure if that Ninja trigger even really resolves if it hits a Planeswalker, but either way, let's take a look. Nothing. Gotcha. They played the Judge's Familiar, which is pretty good, I guess. Do they need to tap that? No. All right, Bob trigger. Let's see what we get. All right, and we draw Verdant Catacombs. Let's go with Goyf. Resolves. Interesting. Not exactly what I expected, but all right. Level up. Exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay the mana cost. Return creature to the owner's hand. Yeah, sure. I'm okay with that. Worse things have happened. And honestly, I'm going to swing with the Bob and try to bait out a block here. No? Okay. All right. Spellstutter Sprite. Well, now we got a bit of a game here. Let's see what our opponent does. Attack with the Flyers, as expected. All right, 2 damage. No biggie. Mausoleum Wanderer. All right. Dark Confidant trigger. Assassin's Trophy. Well, let's see. First things first, let's bobble. Check to see what they're going to get. Force of Negation. Okay. Take the time to Assassin's Trophy the Wanderer, I suppose. Then let's go score one of our own lands. This is a bit aggressive, but I don't hate it at the same time. Let's Scavenging Ooze. Nice. We'll swing with the available team. So if we can untap, we can gain some life with the Scavenging Ooze. We get a Bobble trigger here. Another Goyf. It's a bit redundant, but that's okay. One of their cards is Force of Negation, which isn't going to be very useful. They attack with their 2 Flyers. They take us down to 5. Even if they have a Ninja, it's not the end of the world. Okay. And they play... Okay. Sure. It's an interesting card. All right. Please no Vraska off the top. That would be not great. All right. Let's see. So, what can we do here? They can hardcast Force of Negation, which is not, strictly speaking, ideal. So, I don't want to let them use that at all. What do we do here? Do we just go like Twin Goyfs? Or do we just eat a bunch of stuff in the yard? I think we do that. Yes. Let's get that other basic forest. All right. So, eat their Wanderer, eat the Ninja, eat the Fairy. And I'm just going to let that black mana leave the pool because I still don't want to cast the Inquisition because then our opponent can add some counters to their dude here. And I think we just swing in, really force the issue here. Okay. So our opponent really needs to get this done somehow, and I don't know how they do it because I have no intention whatsoever of playing any more spells that can be countered. Good stuff. All right. That was a bit weird, to be honest with you. But that's okay. Let's bring in the Engineers, the Plague Engineers. That's not bad. Brutalities are probably good enough. I don't think the Spell Bombs are that good, at least not here. I think we can trim 1 Luris, and maybe even... Do we cut off Vraska? Is Vraska too ambitious here? Yeah, let's try this. I want to stay a little bit lower to the ground, while also making our Bob triggers, on average, just a little bit lower. I think that might be just the ticket that we need. All right, yeah, this is phenomenal. I love this hand, especially against what they're playing. Tons of options here, and a Bob to boot. All right, so now all we can really hope for is that they mulligan and or don't have, like, the strongest opener imaginable. Wow, down to 5. All right, won't say no to that. So they play a land, Judge's Familiar. Okay, so let's see. Now, the question is do you go for the Thoughtseize, knowing that they're going to sacrifice it, and, like, you just go, all right, yeah, sure, why not? Let's go with the Thoughtseize, and we're just going to treat it as a, like, pseudo-fatal push, but they let it resolve anyways, which is interesting. Aether Gust. Red or green? I don't actually care about that. Yeah, this is a weak showing by our opponent. I don't know what their 7 or 6 looked like, but I can imagine they were probably maybe riskier, but better than what they have here. All right, so I'm going to push here, kind of force the issue. It's fine, no biggie, don't care about that. Then I'm going to bobble, look at their top card, another Aether Gust, fine, and we'll Hex Drinker. And if we want to play this game for a little while where they Aether Gust me and top, bottom, whatever, don't care. So we bobble and get our Hex Drinker back. All right, see what our opponent has, other than an Aether Gust and, I guess, another land. Let's see, I guess we can worry about this a little bit later. So here, let's Hex Drinker, then we bob. All right, love our position here. Actually, don't mind that being on top, because it guarantees that we only take a little bit of damage from the bob. Plus, I actually like the card, which tends to help. All right, nothing from our opponent. Got a bob trigger, we take 1. Then we draw a Goyf, that's good for us. Let's play the Goyf. Nice little 4/5. Let's crack this. Let's get a basic forest. Play the Hex Drinker. Spellstarter Sprite, no biggie. All right, no problem there. And there you have it. It was a little bit too much for our opponent. Good stuff. Alrighty, we got into our match, found our opponent, and won the die roll. Best of luck. Let's see here. I see no problem with this. I would prefer maybe a little bit of early game hand attack, but I mean, if we can't have that, then I guess this is pretty darn good. We'll play the Hissing Quagmire first for obvious reasons, and then likely the Bob, and just kind of go from there. We'll see if our opponent mulligans or not. Alright, they keep 7. So we'll play the Manland and pass. Alrighty, let's see what we're playing against. Ooh, a Blood Crypt. Interesting. Ooh, okay. Good stuff. Alright, there Mishra's Bobble triggers. And they get to draw a card. Interesting. I think I'm just going to go with the Bob, though. Even if it dies, it's what it is. And if it doesn't, then that's phenomenal. Alright, another Bobble trigger. Alright, let's see what our opponent has for us. Bolt or push? Bolt or push? Ooh, Lava Dart. That also works. Okay. Well, we have a Bobble of our own, but no land, which is rather tragic. Let's see. Let's check our card. Maybe plan that way. Goy. Not really what we're looking for. So let's just Thoughtseize our opponent and see what they have. Their situation's any better than ours. Okay. Well, let's take Light up the stage just to leave them a little bit struggling. Potentially. We can take care of their creature and just kind of go from there. Alright, so we drew our Tarmogoyf. That's fine. A little bit redundant, but I'm sure we'll draw land eventually. Okay. There's a creature, which we can kill with the Abrupt Decay, which is nice. Alright. Inquisition. Not good. Not good at all. We could always just jam a Goyf and have like a massive threat. They just take the Lurrus instead. I guess that makes sense. We have no way to really play it just yet, so I guess they're really scared of like a value off. Let's go with this. Deal with our threat now. Just kind of go from there. And they have a replacement one. That's lovely. Alright, looks like we're going to get bolted pretty hard here. I'd rather get bolted than my Scavenging Ooze. That's for sure. Okay. Alright, speaking of which, let's jam the Ooze here. Let's eat one of their creatures, and then we'll pass. I don't think I'm going to block with the Ooze here, because I really don't want to risk it, to be quite honest with you. But I guess it depends. Don't they have a push in hand? Yeah, I think they do. So I guess functionally it doesn't really matter. So they cast Lava Dart. They could flashback. What, they got 2 of them. Light up the stage. That's pretty brutal. They bolt us. We go to 10. They flashback 2 darts. We go to 8. Yeah, I think they literally just have it. Wow. Good job to our opponent. All right, no biggie. So what can we do here to deal with them? Let's take the Brutalities. Vraska might be a little bit too cute, to be honest. I don't hate the Spell Bombs, although who knows how relevant those are, per se. Dark Confidant might be a little bit too painful. I don't hate the Weather the Storms. We might be able to trim on like 1 Spell Bomb, or maybe like 1 Lurrus. Though maybe that's incorrect. Maybe trim on a Lily, or like an Assassin's Trophy. Sure, let's trim on an Assassin's Trophy. And I guess... Nah, Plague Engineer is probably not that great. Alright, let's run it back and see if we can do a little bit better. I can imagine we could do a pretty gnarly Weather the Storm if they're just playing card after card after card after card and get storm count up to like 6 or something. That would be ridiculous. Pretty sure they won't be too happy about that one. Yikes. Alright, this is a bit weak. We'll mulligan. This is also a bit weak, but we'll ship the Lily and just see if we can make it work, because we do have couple chances here. Let's see what card we're gonna get. Snow-covered forest. All right, good enough for me. All right, so Inquisition number 1. Okay, they have an Inquisition of their own. Soulscar Mage, Cling to Dust. I think I'll just take the Inquisition, I suppose. Just go from there. All right, our bubble will trigger. We'll just yield to that, get our forest, and then pass. See what our opponent has. All right. Okay, so Black Cleave. So this is what they have. They can't play anything, so that's good. All right, let's go with one of these. 2 modes. Let's go -2/-2 and discard a card. And we'll pitch the Lily again. Let's see. I guess the light up the stage is pretty good. Problem with the push is that, actually, let's take the push for now, I guess. If we top deck a land, we can Inquisition into Scavenging Ooze, and maybe that'll be better. I think Magic Online is having a stroke or something, because apparently our opponent has 661 units of time to complete the match. Now they just have 1. Now they have 11. Now they have 21-18. Oh, that sounds a lot better. All right, so they cling to dust. That was very bizarre. Glad I got that on recording, because that's just strange. I assume this is hand attack on Earth. Oh boy. Well, that's annoying. All right. Got a Ghost Quarter here. I guess this is pretty good. Let's Inquisition. Brutal, man. Come on. Well, I guess light up the stage is the best thing here. So they're going to get a prowess trigger, and our Scavenging Ooze is dead. But at least this way they can't do the light up the stage, and if we just took one of them, they would have it regardless, which is not great. And then if they drew a land, they could just light up the stage and do that, which I'm not fond of. So hopefully this way it's the least beneficial to our opponent, but it's still pretty darn beneficial to them with what they have. This deck performs pretty darn well, if I do say so myself. I might want to give it a shot. It seems very interesting. A little bit of aggro, a little bit of, interaction. Definitely seems pretty darn cool. All right, opponent plays a land, and here we go. They get a prowess trigger, and we sacrifice a creature. Rather tragic. They'll get in for a little bit of damage here. Hopefully we can top deck well and just kind of see what happens. All right, so our opponent has an unknown card in hand, although it doesn't appear to be anything they would have cast immediately, so maybe it's just another land. Unfortunate that we drew another basic forest. That's rather tragic. I might be inclined to Ghost Quarter one of these forests and get a swamp on the off chance that we draw a Liliana. We'll be able to actually cast her. Same thing with like a Lurrus or something along those lines. It might be a bit aggressive, but it seems right. I think they put their Lurrus in their hand. So let's hit one of these forests and we'll get a basic swamp. Now we're good. Their bauble triggers. Get a Thoughtseize. All right, well, we can at least take what I assume is their Lurrus. Another Angrath. All right. Right, that's the second one that they did already have, and it was a land. All right, good. We'll see if they actually just waste it, because that can give them a bit of a prowess boost. You know what I mean? Just play it, pump the Soulscar Mage for a little bit, go from there. I don't think that's really worth it just for 1 extra damage, but who knows? They might be in a rush. Overgrown Tomb. Jeez. A lot of lands here, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll get there, though. Another land from our opponent as well. So they have Angrath's Rampage, rather, and an Unknown. Glad so far it doesn't seem to be another creature, because that would be very difficult. Even top-decking a single piece of removal would obviously not be very helpful. What is this? Ah, Cling to Dust. Yes, that makes sense. All right. Nope, nothing. Gotcha. I was wondering if they got a lightning bolt or something. That would have been a pretty good slew of plays. Excellent. All right. So let's just abrupt decay this while we can, and we'll pass. So now we can just start drawing threats, ideally. They crack the Horizon land. Play the Hex Drinker. This is unfortunate. They can Angrath or they can just bolt it here. I assume they're just going to Angrath because they have the mana to do so, so why would they waste perfectly good damage on taking care of a creature? But they feel the need to push, which is fine. All right, so they have an Angrath's Rampage and 2 unknowns. All right, Fatal Push. Okay, guess we can handle whatever the heck they play, which is fine. Wooded Foothills, Angrath and 2 unknowns. Inquisition, excellent. All right, now we're getting somewhere. All right, so they have Lava Dart and a Mountain. I can definitely live with that. Okay, we'll keep this here on the off chance that we need to trigger Revolt for the Fatal Push. I don't really think our opponent really plays that many 3 and they actually can't because of the Lurrus, right? Correct. Okay, so we might just crack that end step. Okay. See, I've always been an avid user of Nihil Spellbomb as a phenomenal, main deck choice, but Cling to Dust, especially in these crazy, grindy games where it just goes on and on and on, might just be the better card, just in terms of, top deck potential, among other things. Perhaps I undervalued it a bit. I thought just the recursion ability from Lurrus was kind of enough to just justify just having that extra stuff, but maybe that might not actually be all that necessary. You could go with a 1-1 split or maybe something else entirely. That'll be interesting to test for sure. All right, finally they play a creature that we can use Seal of Fire, whatever. So we will push it. We'll crack this, get God knows what. Overgrown Tomb, tapped, and pass. All right, so we're at a virtual 8 at the current time because of the Seal of Fire. Now we're at an actual 8. Looks like they're hitting the Cling to Dust once again. There's the Lurrus. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. All right, let's go with the Hex Drinker, and we'll level it up, and we'll pass. Okay, now we finally got something. Took a little while, but I think we're starting to get there. Now, we have no idea what they have in hand. It could be plenty of removal, among other things. All right, they got a creature. Not bad. Little chain here. Quite the slew of creatures. All right, they crack the Horizon Land. Desperately searching for removal, I trust. Lava Dart, that'll do it. All right. Now, we can sort of force them to use the Lava Dart by playing a Scavenging Ooze and then trying to eat the Lava Dart, and then we can just eat, like, the rest of the graveyard. Push, that's pretty nice. Okay. So, let's start with this. Then, play you, and we'll go with... Actually, do we even care? You actually kind of do. All right, we'll eat the Lava Dart. I assume they will just use it. Yep, interesting. Then I will eat that. So Lurrus is a bit weaker now, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I think if we can untap with the Scavenging Ooze the way we are now and a Lurrus that is weakened but still very much alive, I think we basically have this. It's been a long slog for sure, but I think we're okay. Looks like our opponent's hitting another Cling to Dust, or they're thinking about it at the very least. They play Wooded Foothills, they crack it. All right, another Cling to Dust. Okay, and they're targeting a Fatal Push. So they get to draw a card, see what they draw. Doesn't appear to be anything of note. So they attack like that. That's no problem. Now, if they have 2 bolts, we're just screwed, but that's fine. Well, not quite, but all right. So cast a Hex Drinker. Then do that. This. Yes. Oh, okay, right. No more forest. That's fine. All right, let's get you. Let's get the Cling to Dust. And then, whoops, level you up. Level you up, level you up. Beautiful. Okay. A pretty darn good spot, if I do say so myself. I think, yeah, I can afford to just swing in like this. Opponent takes the damage. All right. They're going to have to come up with some pretty clever stuff to really get by from here. They crack the Horizon Land. All right. Fatal Push. Well, that's certainly in play. Okay. And light up the stage. Okay. This could yield them a win. Swift Spear, Swift Spear. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So block this, then we take 5. If they have another spell, then we're dead. Okay. If they don't attack with everything, then that gives away that they in fact don't have another spell. So we'll do the trade here, which I'm coincidentally completely fine with, because our Scavenging Ooze now has a ton to go after. So let's bobble here. Let's see what they're going to get, just for curiosity's sake. A bobble of their own. All right. So let's get that. Let's get that and that. All right, so I don't think we can attack, to be honest. We need like a removal spell or something because they can do some pretty gnarly things. Because I know that they have a bobble. Well, speaking of removal spells, I'll take the opportunity to just do that. So they're going to draw a bobble, and now I think we're in a pretty phenomenally safe spot. I should have just done that with a basic swamp. That was stupid of me. Very bad play. Yeah, that was really dumb because then I could have eaten it. So anyways, we're fine here because our opponent isn't going to draw a card until our turn, and then from there we can do what we need to. We have a 7/7 that can gain us a decent amount of life. Not very many creatures left, however. Liliana, that's pretty phenomenal, admittedly. So we'll play that. We'll make them sacrifice a creature, which at this point is phenomenal because then we can eat their creatures. All right, so we'll do that. Then we just kind of swing in. If Liliana dies, I don't care. And they don't have a Swift Spear anymore, which is great. So if they have a Fatal Push, they can deal with the Scavenging Ooze, and then we're kind of just back to where we started, which is a bit annoying. I assume this bolt will kill the Liliana. Indeed. All right. But if we get a removal spell, then we kind of just win, which is excellent. That is, unless our opponent draws a removal spell with the Bobble trigger. So this is quite the ebb and flow of the game here. Spell Bomb. That's pretty good. Let's do one of these. I think we're going to target my own. Yes. Fatal Push. Beautiful. Beautiful. So we cast the push. Then we eat the creature. Swing in for 10. All right. Let's do that one more time. Sounds all right. Yeah, why not? Sure. We've got the interaction. We have a couple of looks at drawing another land, and our creatures are just phenomenal. So they do that. That's fine. Okay. Let's take a look at what they have. They got a land. Then we Inquisition. Ooh boy, alright. Bolt, Dart, light up the stage, Angrath. Let's see. Take the light up the stage. I'm completely fine with them dealing damage to us. That's not really a problem. Alright, we get a Ghost Quarter off the top, which is pretty good. Alright, let's see what they do here. I guess this is going to be just like Bolt Dart. That's going to be a good amount of damage for sure. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Alright, so then 2 cards left. Push, and then... Alright, so let's cast this. We'll check them. Then I think what we do, as silly as this sounds, I think we go 2 modes. Let's do this. Now they're going to flash back the Lava Dart, so I think we'll ditch the Liliana. Wow, they just passed. That's absurd. We'll take the push. All right. Yeah, they could have saved their dude there. All right, in a forest. Not bad. Here we go again. So let's do... This is crazy, but let's do this. Hit yes. Let's get a swamp. There we go, Liliana. Then we go uptick. Let's ditch the Thoughtseize. Now our opponent has nothing, and if we kill this, then we're in a phenomenal spot. Seal of Fire, that's not irrelevant. So now they can get the Liliana and go from there. That's okay. We can play a Goyf, that's pretty strong. If we top deck a green source, we can do Scoos, then eat something. We definitely have our options here. Luris, all right. So, well, I'll take the 7-8. That sounds fun. All right, see what our opponent does. They have finally made a decision to play their fetch land. They were thinking for quite some time there. Shock. They're going to bring the Luris. Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Fatal Push. That's pretty darn good, to be honest. Although, okay, let's do some stuff here. Let's play the Scoos. Then I'll swing in. I doubt they'll chump. If they do, that's fine. Then... What I might do is... Yeah, I'm unsure of what I want to do, but I definitely don't feel like pushing their Soulscar Mage right now, because they can just get it back if they top deck a land, and maybe saving the push for the Luris itself might be a little bit better. Opponent really deciding whether or not they want to let this Scavenging Ooze resolve with the Luris in their hand. I must say, for an archetype that could potentially be considered to be partially aggro, this is mind-numbingly slow. All right, there we go. So we're going to attack with the Goyf, see if they block or not. Okay, no blocks. All right. Ooh, no Luris. They play a mountain, Luris in hand, nothing else. Okay, can definitely make this work for sure. Wow, yeah, I'm in. Sure, no problem. Good stuff, my dude, good stuff. Now we swing in for 7, and that'd be that. Good stuff to our opponent. Rakdos Luris. Pretty cool deck. Okay, so let's talk about the deck. Honestly speaking, I didn't really feel all that held back by going straight green-black versus Abzan. I could definitely understand why someone would want to splash white for potential sideboard interactions, personal taste, or just leveraging something cool like Stoneforge Mystic. With that said, I don't think it's required, and there's a real quantifiable strength in just going pure green-black, so I'm definitely going to be testing that out more in the future. Thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay safe out there, and have a good one.